Welcome to our new global media talk show. Today is November 16, 2025. Today we're going to be looking at President Barrow's Meet the People store and also briefly look at the return of Babili Mansa, Yaya Jammeh, former president. I have my co-host here, Sam Ceesay. Sam, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm your host here, Momodou Sawaneh in New York. Thank you, Sam. So, Sam, we're going to just dive in right into the President's Meet the Farmer store. Um, yeah, Mudi Farmer Store used to be called, now Midi People Store.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of meeting taking place across the country, and this is a mandate given by the Constitution that the president's supposed to go meet the people,
Okay.
know what they're thinking and how they're feeling, what are the feedbacks he can get from the national populace in order to make him govern better. That is the reasoning behind the people's talk. But we have seen many things happening now in terms of like taking the whole entourage, ministers, you know, other officials, other elected officials, and of even civil servants with him during the store, trying to make some kind of a political appearance, and even reaching out to some of the alcalos and CFOs and even urging them that they should be taking part in campaigning and making sure that they support the president upcoming election. So what are your takes on this? Meet the people store. How do you see it so far? What is your reasoning behind? Do you think that it is going well the way it's supposed to go? Or do you think that they are doing some overstepping somewhere? Sam, you have the
Yep.
floor.
Yep. Thank you, Dr. Sawaneh. Definitely. This is an interesting topic. And I know when this happens every year, we talk about this somewhere, or I talk about it somehow, somewhere. Um, it is something that I look at as wasteful spending. And I will define that and I will get into details of why I said wasteful spending. But first, I want to start with the Constitution. I want Gambian people to understand when the Constitution says the president has to serve, well, when the Constitution says the presidential term is 5 years, right? I'm going to start with that. Presidential term is 5 years. So after every election, the president has 5 years as a mandate. Mandate. And I want people to understand one thing. People think that anything, any power given to the president as a mandate, they think that is mandatory, that they have to do it by all means, by force. The president have to do that. No, the simple answer to that, and the simple explanation to that is, if the president feels, any president in power that was elected by the people to serve a 5 year mandate, right? 5 year time. After 3 years, that president has the right to say, even after 2 years, even after 1 year, they can say, you know what, I don't want this job anymore. Who's going to tell him is a mandate you have to serve 5 years? Nobody, right? If the president gets sick and cannot perform his job duties, he can say, I'm stepping down. Who is to say that no, if despite you're sick, you have to stay there for 5 years? That's not going to happen. If our time is up, we are all here for a time. One day we are all going to go. If a president's term that's serving a 5 year mandate, God says his time is up, he is going to die. And when his time is up and he gets sick to his last minute, he is dying. Who is going to stand up and say, well, you cannot die? You have to serve 5 years because that's the mandate, right? So I want people to differentiate this and understand that, yes, is a power given to the president, but that means the president has the power to decide what he wants to do with it. So if he is given a mandate to go meet the people twice a year, any good leader in the world, any good leader that is really after his country's future, any good leader that really has a vision for his country, any good leader that really has the intention of growing the country into a better economy and provide a better cost of living for his people, that president or that leader, that good leader can say, you know what? I know I'm given two times as a mandate, is mandated or is in the Constitution. That president can say, Constitutions give me the right. It's a right to tour the country twice a year. That president can say, because of the condition of the country, hospitals don't have beds. We have hospitals, people sleeping on the floors. We have hospitals that don't have medicine. We have our youth traveling the back way, and thousands of them died already, right? We have our cost of living going high. There are a lot of people that can't afford the cost of living. We have farmers that have been crying for the past 2-3 years that they cannot get paid the money that they earn after harvesting their crops, their peanuts and groundnuts. They can't get paid because the government is not supplying enough money, or the government is supplying enough money, but for some reason, they're not getting paid. A president can talk about all the difficulties that impacts the economy and say, you know what? I want to save money this year. I'm only going once. The budget that you gave me, the constitutional right that I have to go twice, I'm going to cut it down to only one time. I want to reallocate those funds and buy hospital beds for all the hospitals in the country. I'm going to reallocate that funds and buy 20 fishing trawlers and put them in the river and put our youths in there so we can discourage them from taking the back way. The president has the right and say, you know what? I am going to take that second trip, the second tour funds. I'm going to order rice and supply the whole country rice free of charge. Who's going to tell him, no, you can't do that? You have to go on a tour. Who in the world will stand up to the president and tell him that? Nobody. So this becomes the judgment of the leader. That's the way I look at it. Is if I were the president and something like that happened in such a country, in such a situation, I'm going to say I'm only going once. I'm only going once because we need to reallocate those funds and put it somewhere else where we need it the most. Right? So, yeah. So that's my whole analysis of why I say it's a wasteful spending, because it can be avoided and the funds can be reallocated into something else. And here's something else that I said in the past. You know, in every good administration, there's always good communication. And that communication should come for the president especially. There may already be good communication, but I always, I've recommended this before, that the president have maybe monthly or every other month cabinet meeting, which he does cabinet meeting, but I don't know what they talk about. We don't know that. That's the classified information that we won't know, all right? But this is an opportunity for the president to hold every minister accountable for their department and say in every cabinet meeting, it can be a 2-day meeting. The first day, half of the ministers will present what is happening in their area, comparing the budget to current costs and the expenses to see where they are. And then the second day could be the other half of the ministers to do that. So number one, this helps them align themselves to avoid wasteful spending and misappropriation of funds. Because every month, if they do that cabinet meeting, ministers are going to stand up and say in front of all the other ministers, right? Every minister is going to talk about their ministry and say, this whole year, I have 24 million. I'm giving an example. I have 24 million budget, $1 million is budget. That means I can only spend a certain amount in a month. All right. Or we can make a simple math, and say All right. In my budget, I can only spend $1 million a month. This past month, I spent 800,000. So I have a balance of 200,000, right?
Mhm.
Another minister comes in and say, I spent $1.5 million this past month.
Mhm.
That's my expenses out of my $1 million budget. That means I went over my budget 500,000. And this is where the president is going to hold him accountable. Well, that means you need to cut that 500,000 somewhere, because at the end of the year, you cannot go over your budget without my approval. This is what great leaders do. You cannot go over your budget. That means suspend, or not suspend, but cut down on travel expenses. You're going to have to cut your travel expenses. That means next month, no travel. Whatever you have budget for travel, or the next 2 months, nobody goes anywhere, because we need to save that money and bring it back so you can align with your budget, so that by the end of the year, you can stay within the budget. Because we cannot spend the taxpayers' money just like that, lavishly, however we want, and spend it on things that don't benefit them. So talking about that's why I say communication. Bringing that communication into the cabinet for every minister, so the president can hold them accountable, not only is going to help the president and the ministers to hold themselves accountable to the budget that's given to them, because I understand that every year they go over the budget. They had to turn around and ask for supplementary budget, because what they gave them, they've already spent half of it before the end of the year, or before half of the year, and which puts them into deficit. So, but not only is going to do that, it's going to help the president hold them accountable. But the other part is the president will also be aware of what is happening, because for example, Minister of Agriculture should stand up and say, in my ministry, here are the projects that we are working on. This is what we've spent so far, and this is what we have left. But on our project, give a high level overview. Place so and so and so and so. This is what we're doing there. We've told all that. I recommended this in one of my every year I do this in my audios, WhatsApp audios. I said the Minister of Agriculture need to make sure that they conduct a tour and survey the whole country, farmers, and see how many people are farming groundnut, so that they can have an idea what to make for a budget, or how much to budget for them to be able to buy those groundnuts from those farmers without going overboard or under, and make farmers suffer waiting for their funds, right? So the president will know all of those things that are happening. Minister of Communications works in infrastructure, can say, we're building this and that. We've done road so and so, has a budget of so and so much money. We've spent so much money left, so much money on the budget, on the project, and here's how much money is left. And the project is expected to be finished by November 30th, as an example. So, Minister of Health will also talk about hospitals. We've knocked down hospitals so and so places, and we're rebuilding them to so and so and so and so, and they expect it to be finished at so and so time. So the president will be well informed of what is happening out there without even taking a step out of the state house. So the president can be informed in those. Not only the president, but all the ministers will be informed of what is happening in everybody's area. I think this is a good way, so that the president can allow the ministers to take their normal tour, because they're there to serve the people, so they can go out on a tour to see these projects, oversee the project, and look at the updates in there and progress, and report it back to the president. So when the president is ready to go for a meet the people's tour, one time is enough. He knows already what is happening everywhere, because he's been given the information. This will be his opportunity to go do a couple of things. One, to confirm what the minister was telling him on all those projects, where all the ministers talking to him about the projects. And number two, he can see it for his own eyes. And three, he will be talking to the people directly as to projects and processes in place, what will bring development into the country, instead of talking about other political parties. Because this is not about politics. It's about going to meet the people, see what they are, what conditions they're in, and what can you do to help them. But it's also a time for the president to be able to do a good presentation of all the achievements that he has. He can talk about his achievements and what's coming, but not talk about different political parties. That's not what the Gambian taxpayers budgeted the money for. And I'll stop here. I
Thank
think
you.
I've said a lot, so but I'll stop here.
Yeah, yeah, you did, you did. So Sam, you have really given the overview about the financial aspect of this meet the people store. As with the Constitution says, this meet the people stores is aimed to connect the government or the president with the populace, especially
Yep,
people in the rural area
yep,
who usually don't have interaction with their leaders.
yep,
So this is an incentive that creates an opening for dialogue and expression of things that are happening, good and bad.
yep.
So it should be treated as such, not as a way for president to campaign or use it as a tool to build groundwork for the upcoming election.
Exactly what I was talking about. Yep.
So you mentioned, like the budgeting of other, ministry areas, which are very critical, and I think that should be, well, monitored and well, maintained to make sure that they don't overspend. Now, Adama Barrow this year, as the Constitution of 1997 has mandated for this tour to
Hmm.
happen at least once or twice. I think it used to be twice, but now they cut it to one time. So 1997 mandated the president to have a tour, but this year president went over 173 million over the allocated budget. The parliament allocated 72 million, which was even more than what was allocated last few years.
That's yep.
72 million is even a lot
A
for
lot.
about a how many days of tour? About 6 to 7 days of tour, I could say, about a week. So the president went over and 173 million. So they
Wow.
spent in total 246 million for the tour.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yes, 243 million, 240, sorry, 46 million. That's the total spending. And they went over by 173 million. Now, one would ask, where is that money coming from? Is it that that money is coming from another areas where funds are allocated, or was there money coming from external sources? So this is why the office of the auditor general is important. This is why we need to be transparent to know when it comes to expenses, when it comes to public funds. So the president, instead of 72 million allocated by the parliament, they went over the board, and this is what is mind blowing. Looking at all these circumstances happening, looking at all our hospitals, people are dying in the hospital. They don't have places to get medicine. And then during the tour, we will even echo the president echo. We even had the president echo that the Gambia is doing well. The Gambia, there are people coming from America coming to have treatment in the Gambia. Which is a false claim, because no such thing is happening. They say because Gambia's medical system is cheaper. You know, and then he went on even saying that there is no medical is not free anywhere. Okay, even in America they have higher medical expenses. But the president doesn't understand the way system works here in the West. See, if you wanna know how system works here when it comes to medical, everybody here is treated, either you have it or not. Even if you are an illegal immigrant, once you step your foot at that hospital, you're gonna get treated. You might get bills, but you're gonna get treatment because it's against the law not
Yep.
to treat you. So the facilities are here, but the Gambia, the problem is the facilities are not there. You walk into the hospital, you don't see the facilities. If they are there, people will pay for it. It's not like people are saying that they don't want to pay or they cannot. By the way, even though the pays are, the Gambia salaries and the living standard of the people are beneath what they are earning, even though all that is happening, but yet still, if the facilities are there, they will pay. So the president forget to understand he hasn't put any facilities in place. If you're talking about, like people, whether people are paying or not, have it. If you have it and then they cannot pay, then you can claim that, oh, because of the, medical expenses everywhere. Why don't you pay? But if the facility, you go inside the, hospital, and there's no medicine, there's no
Yep.
I mean, like, you don't have any X-ray machines. You don't have any facilities there.
Yep.
So we're not even talking about paying. Okay,
Yep.
so we have
Yep.
to have the treatment available for us and access to the treatment. Look at the ambulance. There's no ambulance service in the Gambia that could take patients in real time to the hospital, especially those who are injured in traffics and other places. So what we are saying here is that when people claim, and he attacked the oppositions about this, he said the opposition are not giving him credit enough, because you know why? They're always attacking the government, saying that they're not doing this, they're not doing that. The reason what the opposition is saying, the standard of living is not up to standard, as we can claim it. If you are talking about, you are doing well as a leader of a country, you're supposed to make sure that people feel what you are doing. Okay, you can do elephant project, you can do road construction, you can do this thing, but is that the immediate need of the people? People need to feel it in order to know what's happening. Sometimes social infrastructure is much better than physical infrastructure. Jammeh did build elephant projects here, big schools, big hospital, no medicine. What is the point of that? Just statistically, it might look good by saying that this amount of hospital is built, this amount of road, and you can use that during the campaign. But does that mean that's what people that are the immediate need of your people? You need to assess those. During Jawara's time, people are not complaining about getting hungry. We used to eat edible fat in schools. We used to eat crack week in schools. We used to feed, our stomach used to be full, even though those days the world is not as advanced as today. But today you go to Gambia, some people don't have back of a meal to eat. People are struggling to make basic necessities, basic needs. So that means the economy is not doing well. That means the country, the output is not being, is not the output is not overriding the input. So that means there is deficiency in economy, there is deficiency in a lot of things. That's why people are feeling it. So people have to feel it in order to give you credit. So the president cannot go on the people's meet the people's store, trying to understand people's problem. Instead, he's attacking the opposition leaders. And of course, one thing he doesn't understand when it comes to West, there are Medicaid here that covers everybody who is not able to afford to pay their bills, medical bills. As long as you have, you are a citizen of the country or you have maintained certain status, you will be eligible for that. Now, who is paying for that? Somebody is paying for it. So they have a system in place. You have taxpayers' money that is used, portion of it, to cover the people who are not eligible to afford medical expenses. So you can see the balance there. Is that happening in the Gambia? Is there any tax system? Is there any system that could make that people, employee could get taxed, and those taxes are used to help other insured? And he was talking about another thing when it comes to people will get medical insurance and all of that. Who's gonna pay for it? First of all, you have to have a country that could even pay for basic necessity like meals, like having food on the table, people's table, or even have an export system, export certain goods or agricultural goods to be able to get, the revenues, into our country. But we are not even doing anything that could that could put us headway when it comes to, economy. There is nothing. We are not producing anything. Our agriculture is went down. People's groundnut are not being sold. You are seeing farmers are struggling every day. So what is it that we can be proud of today in Gambia? Because even Jawara's time, we used to see that we used to export groundnuts in bulks. Even some rices, people are rice cultivation. We never buy any rice from outside during those days. We used to cultivate our own rice. So all these things are systems that are not happening now. How can the government bring us back to this? How can they encourage the farmers, give them equipment, give them tractors, give them incentive, so people that you can be progressed, especially young people. We have the youngest populations around us, around those areas, in the West African areas. So we should be utilizing those. But the president is not talking about it. All he's talking about is, oh, I did this, I did that, I fixed the road here, I do that. Yes, those are good. We are not taking away that from president's developmental agenda. But what we are saying is that you need to prioritize things, and you need to cut costs. Instead of spending $246,000 $1 million is on Meet the People store, take that portion of that money and utilize it in the hospital. Buy medicines. Right now, when you go to the hospitals, what do you say to people? Go to the pharmacy and buy it from there. Even the people working in the hospitals, sometimes they have their own personal pharmacies on the side where they go and use that money. They go and provide medicine for those pharmacies so that they can benefit, so that they can go and sell those medicine to the local people at a very high price. So this is a total failure of the regime. This is a total failure. So that's what we are saying here. When you go to people's store, look at what they are facing. The people who are farmers and people who are there in the provinces, tell them, ask them what you can help them. Instead of politicizing, attacking opponents here, going left and right, talking about things that are not important, and talking about medical. People are coming to America, from America to here to get medical help. In what sense? And people are having, there's no free medicine, free medical care anywhere. You should be able to have affordable medical system for your populace as a nation. Affordable means everybody will have the opportunity to be treated, regardless of their social status, their income. They should be able to receive medical access, and somebody has to pay for that. You have to probably take from rich people, and you use that money, or tax rich people higher. You use that money to pay for those medical expenses of those who are not able to afford it. This is when everybody will feel things. But we don't. If we don't know what we're talking about, the president is gonna keep talking. There's nobody in America. You step here, even if you're a homeless guy, and you go to the hospital, you don't get treatment. That's against the law. That's against humanity. If you cannot pay, somebody is gonna pay, or that bill will hang out there for the rest of your life. Who cares? But it will not make you. Nobody will come and jail you for that. You never see anybody go to jail because of medical bills. They owe too much medical bills. At the end of the day, if they cannot pay, you're gonna get toasted. Taxpayers' money will pay for that. So this is what the president don't understand, and he's making those statements. But just to make the story short, when it comes to Meet the People store, it is designed to engage the citizen and get the best out of them, and get that feedback and make adjustment in your administration. This is what the president lacks. And he's using this as a way to tell Alcaros and Sefos, if you don't participate in the politics and make sure you support the government, you're gonna get fired. That is not a way to administer people. That is not a way. You are you're using scary tactics to get votes. So the president need to revamp his tactics of scare tactics of politics and focus on the national agenda, which is the national what Gambian people want, which is to be able to deliver in styles, people to feel in their bones that they are eating, their kids are going to schools, at least basic. We just asking for basic. When they go to the hospital, they can get the basic treatments instead of sleeping on the bed and on the floor, hospital floor. What is such an humane way of life? You're sleeping on hospital bed on the floor, and that alone psychologically will make you feel sicker. And you know what? You eventually lose hope. I'm gonna die here because if I'm sleeping on the bed, imagine what kind of treatment I'm gonna get. I mean, if I'm sleeping on the floor, what kind of treatment I'm gonna get? That's why you see our ministers and other people are getting flown outside the country. Where are they going? Dubai? Where are they going to treatment? America? Where are they going? In Turkey? And you're telling us that we should be proud of our medical system. Mr. President, come on. Please give us a break. We should be ashamed of our medical system when we see people sleeping on the floor. We should be upset with ourselves. How many years of independence? 60-something years of independence. We are still going backwards. Gambia should be a little Singapore, where everything should be manageable, should be easy to this thing, because Gambia is gifted. It's a land that has fertile soil. We are not like Senegal. We have irrigation. We have fresh water running half of the country. And what we are doing about that? Looking at it. So we are lack innovation, but all this is leadership problem. We can say it today, tomorrow, Wednesday. This is leadership problem, and President Barrow need to understand that, or any of these politicians, will-be politicians, need to get in their head. They are having leadership problems. They can't do solve problems within the grassroots level, and they put them into presidency. They fail, and our children continue to suffer and suffer and suffer. Look at the national debt. We cannot even talk about that. The national debt is out of line. It's criminal. You yourself say that, Sam. The national debt alone, what Barrow has incurred, combined Drammeh and Jawara, 60. I mean, how many years? 50-something years of presidency. 9 years of presidency surpassed that.
Yeah.
Because why? They're not using logic. They just take it. Whatever comes in their mind, they take. But they're not thinking about the unborn children. They're not thinking about what is happening when they are not in this world. Who's going to pay for that? People have not been born yet. So we fail ourselves and we are failing them. So Gambian people, we need to start to rise. Yes, we are free. You have to give that. We have freedom. People can express their thoughts. Kudos to Barrow and his government, because we fought that by removing Drammeh. But economically, physical responsibility, transparency, we are not there. We are far from there. That's the war that we have to fight. And this election coming, that is going to determine who we put in the office. We cannot continue to put the same people in the office who keep on failing us economically, financially, and developmental wise, especially social infrastructure. That is the key to Gambia. We are tired of this elephant project. Yes, you build having a classroom. Fine. Are there teachers there? Are there books? Are there good curriculum for our students to learn? Instead of somebody was saying they are studying about amoeba, instead of talking about things that don't exist. You're teaching us that. Why not teach us on skillful works that people can be creative and started making things happen before they even graduate, so that they can create jobs for themselves? We have to show the youth how to be able to be creative and self-sustaining instead of taking a boat. Every Gambia now has the highest boat trafficking in around that sub-region. People are not using fishing boats now. Those fishing boats, they cannot go fish because you know why? The Chinese and other people, they took over our fishing industry. So now they're using fishing boat to travel to back way. Everything is upside down in that country. And we are sitting here comfortably saying that, oh, we are fine. And the diaspora, what they are doing, sending money, sending money. People are here, they work all their life. They never enjoy anything because your people are suffering. So we need to start making things happen. The president, he either can provide for the country as expected. He said that people should give him credit because he did something. But you did something that you're supposed to do. Okay, you have done your job. But if you don't do certain things that you're supposed to do, we will say that too. So it's not like, people are not saying the president hasn't done much. No, your government hasn't done much. No, what we are saying is that certain things are there that need to be prioritized. They are not. And the monies are spending lavishly, no accountability, no transparency. The auditor has been removed physically from his seat. And when removed, why? Because he said he's doing a good job. He wants to stay. But you have an agenda. Oh, that guy is not good. He started everything that we did. He must go. Now that thing is in a legal battle. Hopefully they restore that auditor back. So Gambia people, don't be comfortable and say, okay, we don't have Drammeh now. Nobody's getting, nobody's disappearing. Nobody's, been, killed or anything. No, we have bigger problems because corruption kills. It's killing many people silently because you are taking away what rightfully belongs to the people. So that's why I'm saying in this campaign will be a defining moment, especially the same man want to go for third term. How is that going to be possible, Gambian people? Come on. Let's be factual here. So the president's tour, in a nutshell, just to summarize, is a tour that is aimed purposely for his own political gain. That's why he's taking all these people. Dr. Ceesay standing in front of people in Sukuda, calling on different politicians, say Isafala Moya Manfuta. I mean, Isafala Moya Manfuta, what does that have to do with the way our country is governed? Nimola Moya Manfuta, leave him alone. Maybe you should go and help him, take him to the hospital and get the Alamoya fixed. I mean, calling people name by name, and you are information minister. Instead of focusing on what you should be doing for our country, under your leaders watch, you are focusing on each politician. If Sam Ceesay is there, they will say Sam Ceesay maybe you come from Otaye. This is what they're doing. The politics of dirty politics, have no message, and using their power to keep ruling the country. So I'm going to stop here, but in order to say this is an opportunity, since we don't have a guest, to actually vent out our own personal thoughts on this whole matter. President should even, if I were him, I would even let this trip go, or I go by myself with few people and meet few people and come back and save all that money in hospital, in helping people in the hospital and getting some of our needs. They need to find a way for Gambian people to be able to have their meals comfortably. Food is number one, and medical is number two. And then they can go on building roads and schools and whatever they want to do. Elephant projects. Yeah, but Sam, I will stop here. I think I spoke a lot.
Thank you. Yep, this is the day. Like you said, when we don't have a guest, we can take as much time as we need to talk about certain things. You know what I mean? Yeah, you went through a lot of stuff as well. So, which is good. Well, the purpose is just to add something to what you said recently. The purpose of all of this is we're doing civic education. The purpose of civic education is to help Gambians understand, especially those who are getting the wrong message. those who have been told about so and 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 so, or those who are misleading people. When you have government officials misleading people, that's where we come in to tell the people the truth. We need to continue the civic education and educate people what is actually happening, and what the truth is, without really talking about an individual, but we talk about our country and talk about what we need to do as a country to move forward, and prevent people from believing in false information. So this is very good. It's very crucial, and like I said earlier, that and you mentioned this too. The presidential tour, meeting the people, is to go see what is out there and connect with the people, talk about, like I said, the president can use that as an advantage to talk about his accomplishments, but at the same time to talk about the areas of opportunities that he need to work on, while listening to the people, and hear from them, from the horse's mouth themselves, because sometimes people around the president tell him different messages. They tell the president what the president wants to hear, not what the actual reality is. So the president's going out, the president himself going out to meet the people, he can see things for himself. He can hear things from the people, from the horse's mouth, and without relying on anybody else's information, which is good. This is how he can connect with people. But at the end of the day, the wasteful spending must stop in our country. We have spent so much money in the presidential meet the people tour. We have spent so much money in travel expenses in general in the whole country, in and out of the country. Travel expenses include per diems and lodgings and all of that stuff, meals and incidentals and all that stuff. That Gambia is so small with such a poor economy, we cannot be spending our money like that. We should be focusing on things. Like I mentioned earlier, if you think about it, this all of this comes from leadership. Leaders must lead by example. Leaders must have a vision for their country, where they're going to move the country forward. And anything that's contrary to that, they need to fight against that to make sure that they follow their goals to meet the expectations of the people. And that's why they're elected to be in the office. And no matter who the person is, like I always say, there should not, at this point, Gambia has, I think they've opened their eyes. 2016 was an eye opener for Gambia. A lot of people realized that, because people had to believe that nobody can take Drammeh out and Drammeh is always going to be there forever. Well, 2016 changed that. When that change happened, that was the eye opener for Gambia. That's when they realized that, wow, well, we didn't realize we can take Drammeh out. Drammeh is out. Drammeh is out. That means anybody that comes in there should be able to go out. And we should really stand very firm on the two-term limit for any president that comes into power. 2 terms is enough. Anything over 2 terms is just going to be waste. It's going to be a waste of our resources, waste of our funds, and also more corruption in there, which is at the end of the day bad for our country. So we need to make sure we avoid all of that. So, and one thing that you also say about the president's comments about people coming from America to go seek medical treatment in Gambia, the only thing I can believe in that is if they're going to go and pursue local medicine.
He's talking about the hospitals. He's talking about the
local medicine.
Our
not
hospitals
in the
are so,
hospital. Not in the hospital.
You didn't
Local
talk about
medicine.
none of it.
And I have not seen anybody that did that. But anyway, it can happen. People can leave overseas and go back to Gambia and say, I'm going to follow the roots. I'm going to follow the local medicine because what you've tried overseas did not work. So you go for local medicine. But nobody in their right mindset will leave all the good care that they have in overseas to go to Gambia, to go to the hospitals, when we know that the hospitals are in such a poor condition or horrible conditions that nobody is going to even want to be there. So yeah. If you come from overseas, especially in America, and you step your foot in the Gambia, they take you to the hospital. You wouldn't even want to be on that bed. You would not be on that bed, because in America, any hospital that you go to is going to be as clean as any hotel that you can see, if not even cleaner. Should be even cleaner than the hotels that you see. So look at Gambia hospitals. I mean, in health centers, and look at all the conditions that are in there. So we need to tell the people the reality and the truth. The truth is, we have a bad situation in our hands, and we need to fight to get out of that situation and move our country in a new direction. And like I said earlier, that Meet the People store, the amount of funds that are allocated for that fund for that tour is way too much. And especially, I even heard somebody sent me a video. I mean, I saw the same video last year also, and different ones the prior year, when the National Assembly members stood up there, talk about the budget allocation for Meet the People store or the president's office. I mean, it's outrageous. But I blame them. I don't blame the president. You know why? Because they have the power to refuse to approve those budgets. Why didn't they contest? They should be able to contest against those kinds of funds and say, you know what? We are not going to approve this budget because our hospitals are real in bad shape and need help. Our schools need help. You know, our people need help. We cannot allocate such an amount of millions for the president's office. They need to be able to say that. But if they went ahead and approve it, well, that's on them. That's on them. Which also tells us that we don't have very good people in the National Assembly. We don't have people that are there to really represent our people. You know, and all Gambians need to know that, so that when time comes for National Assembly elections, everybody need to look back and ask themselves, what has our National Assembly member done for us? What have they done in cabinet? Sorry, in the parliament? And make judgments and distinguish the good ones from the bad ones, so that the bad ones can never get reelected back into that office, because they're not there for the country. They're there for themselves, or they're there to support an individual. And that's not good for us. So, but I'll stop here. I think we've gone too much into this. We can continue to talk about this. And like I said, the saddest thing is politics is about ideology, right? It's about ideology. Every politician has an idea of what they want to do, what their goals are, what are their core values for when they come to the office of the president, right? So if you think about it, if you ask me, so my ideology, my mindset was, again, to say that we don't spend this much money in Meet the People store. The president can meet the people once a year with less money and less crowd, and turn around and say, let's reallocate those funds to help our hospitals, to help our people, to help our youth. A fishing trawler boat, all right? One fishing trawler boat. I mean, everything is depends on the size, the complexity, and all of that stuff on it. But you can get a good brand new fishing trawler boat for less than $2 million. Mm-hmm. Or maximum you can spend $2 million. So think about how many 2 millions are there in 200 million. That means we can buy 20 fishing trawler boats.
Yes.
At least. And put them in the waters. Bring our people, our youths, and encourage them. Train them. Allow them to go fish. And limit the Chinese and the Senegalese. And tell them, you know what? Here is your boundary. You pass this boundary, we're going to seize your boat. We're going to find you. If you don't pay it, we're going to terminate your contract. Allow Gambians to go in there with those fishing trawlers and fish and bring it to our markets, which is going to bring the cost of living down, because now at that point, cost of fish will be lower. Every family can go into the market and buy fish because you know why? The fish is produced by the Gambian fishing trawlers, and not the Chinese taking all of our fish and exporting them. Same thing as the Senegalese. Then we will have more fish in all of our markets to sell to our own people at a very reasonable cost. This is what's going to help. Not only is going to help the cost of living, but it also helps the employment rate, on employment rate, because a lot of youths will be assigned to work in those fishing trawlers. There will be people that will be going there. That will all have jobs. They will get paid. They will have fish for their homes too. So there's a lot of ways to think about some things. If you think about money being spent um, at the rate of a destruction, is best to divert that into something more economical and more sustainable for our people and better for our people. But anyway, thank you, and yeah, we'll end this. I think we can end this topic here.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Quickly, our viewers are viewing us, so if we can just jump on Jammeh's return. There's a lot of speculation, and even the people dancing, celebrating that President Jammeh is coming back this month. Today is on the 16th. No sign, no information yet, but preparations are taking place because President Barrow, President Jammeh said he's been homesick. He's been away for 9 years, and then they had an agreement with the coalition. It's not coalition, yeah, coalition members, especially with the people who mediated the arrangement for his departure, that he should be returning. Now he said he's homesick. He must come to the Gambia. President Barrow would know who owns the Gambia, if it's him or Barrow, and and his people are saying that nobody can stop Jammeh. Okay, so the idea here is that yes, Jammeh would depart because he was we all witnessed the arrangement made by Buhari and others, and when they went to Nigeria, tried to get the judges, when President Jammeh said that he didn't think that the election was fair, and started accepting the election result, and then turn around when there was some minor differences on the results from the IEC. So I just want us to look at, because we are not legal people here, we don't know the legal rectification of his return. But many people are saying Jammeh has the right, is a citizen, to come back. But we watch TRRC, and we watch what happened. Many people came out, and then they say that those atrocities took place, especially those two Gambian Americans who were killed and cut into pieces. We saw those. Many people testify, and the order came from Jammeh. And many other assassinations, killings were authorized from the top, through the junglers. So these are still the Barrow, again, failure on Barrow's administration. After the TRRC was done, completed, the reports came out, recommendations. Nothing has been implemented yet, as of yet. Maybe the next government will do that. Now, we have also seen the return of people who are residing with Jammeh at Equatorial Guinea, including Sirinjai, who is the assistant, who is the deputy speaker now. He's been rewarded instead of being punished. We've seen other Solbaji and others who returned to the country, and we don't yet still nobody has been facing anything yet significant beside Yankuba Ture, who failed to testify, and he was taken to jail for that. So, based on all of that, and the fact that Jammeh has been in exile in Equatorial Guinea, and we have seen Ghanaians also, they have demonstrated that or showed that they want to claim, the killing of their 44 Ghanaians that were killed, that were thought to be mercenaries. Those folks were going through the back way. So with all this information out there now, Sam, what do you think what are the realities that Jammeh will face coming to this country? Yeah, especially when Barrow said on the Made the People store, he is the only one who can allow Jammeh to come here. What are the the drawbacks of Jammeh coming to this country? We all know that he has the right to come because he's a Gambian. Nobody can deny that. Okay, so the only the I mean the biggest question is here after the revelation of TRRC, and everything has been pointing towards Yame. What do you think, would happen? Would Yame, first of all, do you think Yame will come? And if he doesn't,
Well,
what does these words mean?
well, it's a very good question, and the way I look at things, just like part of what you mentioned earlier, and we should all. This is a very sensitive issue. It's a sensitive case, and everyone that talks about this should really be cautioned, knowing that there has been a lot of things that happened during Jammeh's watch, right? But at the same time, we also know that according to the law, everyone is innocent until proven guilty in the court of law, right? We all know that, right? So we have to keep that in mind. That all of that, we have to keep all of that in mind. There are victims in the Gambia that have lost loved ones. There are victims in the Gambia that are still crying. There are victims that waited and waited to be compensated until they died, and nothing happened to them. Did not receive a dime. All of that has happened. So when Jammeh gets up and announced that he is going to come to Gambia in November, which is this month, and today is the 16th of November. So we have about 2 more weeks. And I'm gonna say, let's see and let's watch and wait and see if he'll come. But on the other side, I would say in any situation, whether it's Jammeh or somebody or anybody, anywhere in the world, something like this happened during a presidency. So many crimes, so many humanitarian violations, and so many things that happen that are against the law. When that happened, the sitting president has roles to play. They need to work with the international community to make sure that the culprits are held accountable for what they did. They should have done that long time ago, especially after TRRC, when you had so many witnesses that came forward and said this, and that, and said everything that they said. And a lot of them pointed fingers at Jammeh. Well, that was a good time to get Jammeh in court to defend himself, right? And let justice take part. Because up to that time, no matter how many witnesses came forward and said what is said, Jammeh would always assume innocent until proven guilty in the court of law, just like we all know by law. The Ghanaians are sitting out there waiting for Jammeh to be prosecuted. A lot of Gambians are sitting out there waiting for Jammeh to be prosecuted. Well, if he says he's coming to the Gambia, I don't think there's any need for even President Barrow to come out and say what he said, that let Jammeh come, and see what happened and all. I don't think there's too much to talk about this. We should just let the law take place. Yes, Jammeh is a citizen of the Gambia. Every citizen has a right to go back to your homeland and face any consequences that you are about to face. If he is coming to the Gambia, he already knew in his mind that when he comes, he will be facing justice. In my mind, I think he will already know that. He should already know that, and nobody should tell him that. He knows that he will face justice. So if he wants to come, let him come. I think they should let him come, and he will have the right to defend himself in court. That's the way I look at it, without going too much overboard and say too many things, and people be saying too many things. We should all sit back and relax, let the law take over, because no one is above the law.
But why do you think President Barrow is saying that if Jammeh would have come to Gambia, he would have come the time that his mother passed. But Jammeh ako Jammeh kamunta ko nya ako munta ko momi alon ko tara silo kay deni ko wura. Nyama dum tara silo kay deni ko wura. Yimuru bas ko yene ma ko kelola.
Ma ko kelola. I heard that part too. I heard that part. To
So
me,
why do you think President Barrow is talking like that? If he ako kulentilal betakan, motol betakan, motol fangol betikam. Let Barrow ako ako tamala na kasara. Ala saro kami umam pare katama. So it's a lot of things that Barrow has said. And what do you think about those comments? I mean, do you think Barrow is not worried, or Barrow is worried, or what do you think?
Barrow was saying those. I don't know what was in his mind when he was saying them.
Do you think he should be worried or not?
But I would say a couple of things. Jammeh's things should not be taken lightly. Even though he is a citizen, he has the right to come to the country. Yes, he can come to the country. He has a lot of loyal believers in the army, a lot of loyal people in the country that supports him. And if he comes, they will go meet him at the airport and bring him and escort him to his home. That is going to happen. Now, and if anybody wants to go arrest him at the airport, it's just going to be a chaos. That can bring a tribal war in the country. It can bring a civil war instead in the country. It can bring some kind of a dilemma that we don't want to see happen in our country. So I don't think it was necessary for Barrow to say all of that. Yes, that was his feeling. Everybody has the right to say whatever they want to say. Barrow said what he wants to say. Jammeh said what he wanted to say. He wants to come. He called his people. They got it in Kalinlai. He released audios that he is coming. And they were all happy and chanting. They want to welcome him back home, right? But, everybody knows that there are unfinished business with Jammeh. And the law has to prevail. Everybody knows that. That's why I said it's a sensitive issue. Everybody should be mindful of how they treat this.
So do you think President Barrow went too much overboard by saying all those things? Because it looks like it's kind of mocking.
Right. I don't think, again, like I said, as a leader, I don't think all of those are necessary. I wouldn't be saying all of that as a leader. But in the first place, like I said, Jammeh's case should have been dealt with long time ago, not when we wait till Jammeh announced that he's coming home. That's when we want to stand against that.
He should be extradited, right?
Long time ago, yes. He should have faced justice long time ago, so he knows his fate. That should have happened. That way if the court finds him not guilty, he can come home. If the court finds him guilty, the rule of law take place.
Whose fault is
justice will take place. But at the same time, I also look at it as Jammeh could be a threat in our country, because the same way they arranged to have a coup in 1994 can be the same way that they can stage another one when he comes back if nothing happens to him.
Okay, so you think he said his coming is a threat to the sitting
government? It could be a threat. I don't think he's coming in his mind. He's not coming as a president. He's coming back to his home, but nobody should undermine that.
But if he said that, but President Barrow would know whether he owns the Gambia or president owns the Gambia. That means the man still think that.
What that means is, yes, he has the right to come to the country, and he would come
no matter what. No. He said them two. They are the one who saying he said that whether President when he comes and meet President Barrow would know whether President Barrow owns the Gambia or Jammeh owns the Gambia. So still.
None of them own Gambia. Gambia belongs to Gambian people, right? None of them owns the Gambia. They were just. Jammeh was once a president. Barrow is not a president.
yeah. So
and
so
they have their presidential powers.
in other words, they still all talking. They still all talking with
Yep,
this excessive power in their head that
yep, yep.
they are untouchable, or they are some kind of a different kind of creature out there. Because
That
if them two are going trading war like that, only me,
yep.
I can let you to come to this country. If you come to this country, you can
Right.
deal with your
That's why I said that's part of the reason I said Jammeh's coming to Gambia is a threat. Is it could be a threat to the country.
Okay.
Yes. It's different from when President Jawara was coming back home. When President Jawara was coming back home, there was almost very minimal or no threat.
Okay.
When Jammeh comes back, the way he was talking and the
So what do
words
you
that
think
they
should happen?
say,
Should he come or should he not? Or what do you think the government should do?
well, I think the government knew what they needed to do, but they just failed to do it. And that is to do everything they can to extradite him, to get him to court so that he can face justice, especially after TRRC when you have witnesses that said so many things about him. And
Okay.
before all of those witnesses die, would be an opportunity that was an opportunity to bring Jammeh to justice so they can bring the same witnesses to sit there and say what they said in TRRC, because TRRC was not a court. So,
Okay.
so I think it needed to go that way, but they should not undermine Jammeh in his capabilities with his allies and all the loyalty that he has. If Barrow undermines him, he can be regretting that.
Okay. So in
Yeah.
other words, now they should when he comes and appear in the airport, what should be done? He should be. You think he should be arrested or it should be what?
Well, that's a good question. That's what I was saying earlier. If they want to, in reality, in some places, that's what they will do. You step foot at the airport, they get him arrested. But if they want to do that to Jammeh at the airport, it could be chaos. It can be chaos.
Okay.
In letting him go to his hometown also,
Yeah.
then who is going to go there to go arrest him? Yes, they can, but still, it's just going to start something else. It's just going to start something else because remember, he has loyal people in the army that are going to stand and defend him until they die. He has loyal believers, basically loyal people that will stand behind him and support him,
Okay.
regardless of anything. So the government, and long story short, is the Gambia government did not do what they were supposed to do in the first place.
That's
That's
why.
what I would say.
That's why
Yep,
we are where we are now with German.
yep. That's why we are where we are now.
Okay.
Yep,
Lesson learned. Lesson learned.
yep.
Thank
Absolutely.
you so much, Sam. I think we have exhausted that. We're just an hour over. So we are at a
Yep,
good timing as well. We
yep.
we started late. But definitely this is we're able to cover at least
Quite a bit.
two key areas, and
Yep,
especially meet the people. So I hope the government folks are listening. They can look at some of our opinions and advices and areas of observation and use it to their benefits. But
yep.
our viewers also, we want to thank them because they've been following us, and of course they will follow us later and perhaps pick up some interesting or important things in our discussions. But as usual, Sam, you definitely hit the nail on the head, and different areas with the meet the people store and of course James return. Your final takes.
Yep. At the end of the day, I think it was a great conversation today, a great topics that we covered today, and I hope the viewers will enjoy this as well. For those of them watching now and those who are going to watch this later will all enjoy, and I'm sure they'll all have their own things that they want to add to it and make some comments and things like that. And we'll be very open-minded to read all of those comments, or at least some of those comments, as much as possible. But I want to thank you, Dr. Sawaneh, for your time, and getting the stage on, and I think it was a very good day, very good
Yeah,
day.
yeah. It
Yeah.
actually give us an opportunity to express in depth
Yep.
some of
Yep.
these areas, because
Ex-
sometimes we
Yep.
have guests, and then the guests we ask
Yep.
questions and just listen to the guests. And next week I think we're gonna have Kimo Fadi. Now he's
Okay.
going to talk about the unity. He was one of the people who were arrested. So, and then he's thinking of also running as a presidential candidate. So that will be coming next week. And then also Kimo Ceesay, also the spokesperson for the new United Movement for Change, is
Okay.
also on a schedule. So we have many guests ahead. But
Good.
definitely, our viewers, thank you so much for following and sharing. And of course, we will catch up later. Thank you, Sam, again.
Thank
For
you.
your time.
Yep. And
All right.
enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too. Take care.
Alrighty. Yep.
Bye.